Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Chairman Hochberg and Mr. McCarthy, for being here today. A lot has been said today, many comments, both sides of the aisle, pro and con. I was just thinking, I was looking over some notes about one of our greatest presidents, President Reagan, and how he was able to guide the country in the direction of prosperity and growth, was able to make things work, and how I was thinking about a lot of the policies that he championed, and how I wonder in today's political world, on the Republican side of the aisle, how many of my colleagues would politically go after President Reagan because he wasn't, in their mind, conservative enough, which is really ridiculous because he was able to do a lot for this country with his leadership. Also today, as I've been listening to a lot of the comments, I guess I've got to get on my staff. I thought we had introduced a bill with 60 co-sponsors earlier in the year, H.R. 597, to reauthorize and reform the Ex-Im Bank. So many of the issues that have been brought up today, we are addressing in our reform package. I was just looking over some of the things, making the Office of Ethics statutory. To my good friend Mr. Williams from Texas, we allow the bank to build its own earnings now. So if there's ever a place and time that there is a failure, we allow the bank to build its own capital so the taxpayer will not be on the hook. We are actually strengthening and making this, as you know, what is frustrating as a good conservative Republican is we are sent to Washington to make the government more accountable, more transparent, more responsible, and work for our constituents. You know, last night I have a lot of thoughts through my head now, and I asked my wife, I said, you know, am I sure I'm doing what's right? And she said, you know in your heart you're doing what's right. And I said, well, it's very difficult on me having a disagreement with the chairman. And she says, well, honey, and she's been wrong before, but I think she was right this time. She said, you don't work for the chairman. You don't work for the president. You don't work for the speaker. You work for your district. You work for the hard-working Americans all over this country, and you're sent to Washington to do the best you can with what you've got. Now, look, the easiest thing for us to do here politically is to blow this thing up and go back home to our districts and blame everybody else for it. And you know who's going to be left holding the bag? The workers that lose their jobs because these companies are buying products from people in other places around the world. Now, we have a challenge here. Are we going to step up and try to do the right thing? Roger Williams brought up a great point when it came to reforming this part of the non-recourse loan. Do you know how we do that? We do that in bringing something before this committee in regular order. Chairman Hensarling has been a champion of regular order. Allow us to have our day, allow us to have our say, and if the opponents of this win out, then we lose and the bank won't be reauthorized. But we have all of these reforms. We've been working on a conservative approach to fixing the problems with this bank. But yet we somehow can't seem to come together and at least have an open and honest debate. You know, the hearings are good. I know they serve their purpose. But this is getting a little old, doing the same thing over and over and over. When we could have a markup, we could have regular order. The people could offer amendments if they wanted to end the bank, amendments to have non-recourse, whatever amendment they wanted to offer. And we could all vote. We could all have our say. We could all show people where we stand on these issues. Or we can continue to play the game. It expires in, 14 days? We have an obligation to do what's right for the American people. And I have an obligation to work for my district. 160,000 jobs nationwide, 8,300 jobs in the state of Tennessee, 116 exporting companies in the state of Tennessee. The American people deserve better, and we need to give it to them. And I yield back.